This episode is sponsored by Smart Travel, a new podcast from NerdWallet. You know that one friend who always finds the best travel deals, picks the right cards, and somehow ends up in first class for the price of coach? How do they do that? Well, Smart Travel is like that friend, but in podcast form. They cover all things travel finance, like which travel cards earn their keep and which are just heavy, shiny metal, and planning group trips that won't ruin your budget or your friendships. So travel smarter and spend less. That's the key with help from NerdWallet. Follow Smart Travel wherever you get your podcasts. Armchair-Explorer is a part of the Voyescape podcast network. Check out all of their shows from around the world at voyescape.com. Hey guys, welcome to Armchair Explorer. My name's Aaron Miller. I'm a travel writer and your host. And this is the second episode in our series on Australia's Northern Territory. If you missed the first one, we did an amazing road trip through the top end, as it's known. We saw ancient rock art, loads of crocodiles. There's a possum ER story in there that will literally have you in stitches, and lots more. So check it out if you missed it. It's just a few episodes back in the feed. But we finished that episode where we're picking up today, at Uluru. You probably know it. It used to be called Ayers Rock. Uluru is its correct indigenous name. It rises over 1,000 feet straight from the Red Desert. It has mysteries, it has stories, superlatives, and it is one of the great wonders of the world. Last time we spoke with a ranger from the Uluru and Kasujuta National Park, and we got the lowdown from them. We learned what to do, we got all the information, but today we're going deeper. The Anangu people are the traditional custodians of Uluru, and many of them still live right next to it in the tiny village of Mutajulu. It's got only about 300 people that live there. My guest today, Kylene Randall, is one of them. She has deep roots into that community, and she's going to share some of the stories and beliefs that surround this incredible place, stories which her people have passed down for millennia. She's the founder of Tali Katu. They're a really incredible company. They do indigenous-led tours around Uluru and the surrounding area and workshops and all sorts of amazing things that really help you find out about their culture and community and get that deep view of this incredible wonder. And here's the thing. This is something that you can actually do too. These bucket list episodes are all about showcasing one amazing place or experience that is in the travel reach of mere mortals. You don't have to be an extreme adventurer or take a year off unless you can, which you should. You can go there on your next holiday. After you listen to this, in fact, and I think you'll agree it would be a dream trip, especially if you combine it with that road trip I mentioned earlier. 2 amazing weeks that finish right here. So to make that happen, I teamed up with a company called Down Under Endeavors. They put the whole itinerary together with me. They can connect you with Kylene and all that good stuff. So check it out. All the details at the end and in the show notes. And guess what? I've managed to wrangle a $500 discount off them just for Armchair Explorer listeners. So if this story does inspire you to put it on your bucket list, listen at the end and check out those show notes. Cheeky quick request from me too. If you enjoy this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend. That is the number one thing that you can do. And that's how we keep this thing going and how we can keep bringing stories like this to you. But for now, this is our bucket list episode, Uluru, Australia's wonder of the world. Are you ready? Let's go.
People do come out and they actually can't find the words to describe how it makes them feel. I'm still in awe and amazed at Uluru. We don't really take it for granted, and it's massive, it's humongous. It's roughly 10 kilometres all the way around. It takes about 3.5 hours to get around Uluru by foot. There's lots of sacred sites and lots of stories, some that we can share, some that we can't. And it looks different throughout the day. In the morning, it looks spectacular with the sun rising. And then, it's just like breathtaking when the sun's setting. Lots of people, especially after they come on country and sit down with us and learn from my grandfathers or my aunties and uncles, they often say I've never felt so connected before. And so whatever connection means to them, whether it's connected to the country, connected to us as people, connected to their surroundings. But we had a group come out a couple of years ago. All of them just kept saying, being out here has allowed me to slow down and just really think about what's important when I get back home. Like, I think that in today's world, we're constantly racing and constantly trying to get things done. And as soon as you get out to Uluru, time just slows down. So what's interesting about my story is that both of my grandparents on my mother's side were forcibly removed, which was a, Australian government policy of the day. And so my grandfather worked really hard once he became an adult to rediscover where he was from, because he was taken from Central Australia all the way up to the top end of Australia. And he was only a little boy when he left, so maybe 4, 5, 6, he was born in the bush, so no birth certificates type stuff to really be able to trace him back. And to also, there were no records either kept on his mother's name. There was only kind of records that were documented of him and my grandmother, which would have been their estimated age, estimated height, weight, that type of stuff, and what condition the kids were in when they were removed. So I'm third generation from my grandparents being removed. My grandfather searched up and down the Stuart Highway, which is a very popular highway, so lots of tourists know about it if they're travelling by road. Yeah, my grandfather travelled up and down looking for his mum, looking to be reconnected to his mum. He never found her, but what he did find was where she was from. And she's a traditional custodian of Uluru and Katajura. So that's an amazing legacy to be born into, right? And connection as well.
As a child, Kylene would spend holidays here with him, and when she turned 18, already a mother herself, she moved to Mutijulu permanently. Her grandfather was one of the stolen generation, an Australian government policy where Aboriginal children were taken from their families and sent to institutions in an attempt to erase their culture and their identity. But it didn't work. He may never have found his mother, but he did find his culture, and he did pass it on to Kylene. That's how Talikatu was born, as a way to give her community a chance to share their story, as a way to give back to her grandfather's vision. And at the centre of that story is something called Tjukurpa.
So Tjukurpa is our creation period, and it's our laws as well. So we refer to our creation time as Tjukurpa, and that's when our law was made, in the creation period. I would describe it as the time before time, the period in which everything came to an existence and came to be. So it's even before us as humans. And so that's why it's our law, because it's written in the land and it never changes. And it's really our constitution. And so every Aboriginal country throughout Australia has a word for Tjukurpa. They have their own law and they have their own creation stories. And sometimes those creation stories can connect up right across the country, which is really quite incredible. But those creation stories allow us to identify where we belong inside of our kinship structure and what our responsibilities are inside of that kinship structure as well. And so when my family talk about it and share it with our guests, we constantly talk about how strong our law is and was. It totally connects us to everything, the world around us. Traditional culture was very focused around sustainability and longevity as well. How do we sustain the country? How do we sustain what we need? And if there was a drought, as an example, the desert can be very harsh, but if there was a drought, we'd move on and then we'd come back when we needed to. And, a lot of what we're seeing today is the adaptation of being able to move from like a traditional lifestyle to a more modern lifestyle. We're seeing knowledge being lost and not handed down the way that it usually would be handed down. And, so for Anangu, there's lots that we have to learn. We have to learn a Western education system if we want to get employment and opportunities in another world, but then we still need to learn our Tjukurpa and our our language, our traditional ways, understanding our responsibilities inside of our Tjukurpa, inside of our families. So there's always lots of learning that's going on and lots of teaching, you know. It's kind of like this, we have a concept and it's called napaji, where it's you give me something, I give you something. And so it's always two ways. We're never just taking, it's always reciprocated.
Tjukurpa isn't something that we can take or assimilate into our culture. It belongs to the Aboriginal people, the Anangu people here. But in fact, every Aboriginal nation across Australia has its own Tjukurpa, passed down through generations in song and dance and story. But it is perhaps something that we can learn from. And the only way to do that, Kylene says, is to be there, in country, walking the song lines at the base of Uluru, seeing with your own eyes the places where Tjukurpa lives and the land to which it is connected.
So there's lots of creation stories around the base of Uluru. When we're doing the walk and doing the talks, we'll just cross them and then, you know, family will choose to share about it or not. And it depends on who it is, because some of it is women's stories specifically, some of it's men's stories. So we just like to honour the group that we're with and allow ourselves to also honour our culture, which is very gender specific but also very gender safe. So women's stuff belongs with women, men's stuff belongs with men. And the things that we can share collectively, we will do that. So the Kuni Uluru story as an example, we share that one quite regularly. It's a very powerful Tjukurpa. And then the Mala story as well. And it starts at the base of Uluru. So the Mala Tjukurpa talks about a long time ago. And the Mala people arrived here from the north and they thought it was a good place to stay and make some important inma. Inma is our ceremony, and that includes song and dance. So after the Inma had already begun, two Wintalka men approached the Mala with an invitation to participate in their ceremony that they had started. But the Mala had refused and they said, we've already started our ceremony here, so we can't stop this one and come and join yours. But thank you for the invitation. The Wintalka men weren't very happy with that response, so we had a bit of a fight happen. And so there's markings left inside of Uluru around that fight. And what we'll do is we'll take you on the walk, we'll show you where the ceremony had begun, and then we'll show you where the fight ended as well. And there's an important piece in there that talks about when you start something, you have to finish it, which is really fascinating, right? Like if that becomes your law, and in your constitution, how many of us are starting things and not finishing? Like I'm notorious for it. And then you get an idea of how strict our law was. Really, really strict. But for good reason, right? It teaches you patience, perseverance. There's all of these really amazing qualities that come from honouring your law, honouring your Tjukurpa and what you believe in. And I think, also, I think it's about thinking things through before you start something as well, right? Because there's a lot of the time we start things possibly on impulse and on a whim. And that doesn't allow for really thorough planning to do what you have to do and really think it all out.
And that's just one story, one Tjukurpa from one walk. But it's also possible to learn hands-on through art and culture and knowledge.
One of our traditional tools is a spear. And, there's a whole process that goes into making the tools as well, because not each tree can make each of the tools that we're wanting. And then we also have our bush medicine workshop. And so we'll go and collect some of our natural plant and we'll talk about its use, and people will engage in the actual workshop, and then they get to take a little sample home with them as well. What's really interesting about all of our cultural activities is that these are things that we did quite regularly traditionally, and they're all really regulating. So they're very calming. You just feel at peace when you're doing it, and you're just focusing and processing and doing what you need to do, and you're just getting the job done. So it's a really nice, natural way to kind of just reconnect with yourself, I think, as well. If we have a group of people that camp overnight on country with us, we'll get some kangaroo tail, so mulla whipple, and they can engage in cooking that up and have a taste of it. We'll dig for honey ants as well, so jala and makul, which is witchetty grub. So there's some of our delicacies.
Kylene says when you spend the night in the bush, you feel like you can see every star lit up in a pure black night. And when you hear the stories out there by the warmth of the fire, you're hearing them in the way that they've been told for thousands and thousands of years. And that's the difference. You can see Uluru and be amazed by the science and statistics. You can be awed by the sunrises and sunsets. But if you want to learn from it, you have to walk with the people for whom it is more than just a wonder of the world. It is a part of them. And if you're lucky, the Tjukurpa of Uluru might just inspire your way of life too.
My grandfather talks about 4 main pillars of holistic well-being, and he doesn't really frame it in that way, but that's the messaging that you get, right? And so he talks about walcha, which is your family, and then he talks about mora, which is your country. He talks about kurumpa, which is your spirit, and Tjukurpa being law or creation. And so he talks about when you're disconnected from any of those elements, you become unwell. You can't think properly, you can't sleep properly, you can't eat, and you become just a shell of yourself. But then when you have access to all of that, you're complete, you know where you belong, you're happy, you're healthy. And that's what he just wanted people to really understand, that by being forcibly removed, it took him away from all of the things that made him happy and healthy and strong. But it really is best felt when you're out on country, because you have this embodied experience of becoming reconnected to all of those elements. And it doesn't even matter if you're not from Uluru, right? You just have this experience of coming completely back online. I've been really fortunate to grow up with, my grandfather being who he is. He was always really passionate about, I'm going to use the word reconciliation, but really bringing 2 different worlds together so there's a shared understanding. He wanted people to stop hurting other people. That's what he was about. And he wanted people to understand why there's so much pain, and I'm going to say animosity as well. I think visitors and even, Australians have mixed experiences of interacting with Aboriginal people. But when you have an authentic opportunity to engage with us, what you get is you get an opportunity to experience somebody's heart and somebody's spirit. And, that's what really changes people and really connects people. And I think if I can have the opportunity to create a space where people are having those experiences, and they're not just connecting with me and my family from the bush, but they're connecting to our country and having the most wonderful time, then that's what I'm going to try to deliver over and over and over again.
And you know what? I think her grandfather would be pretty proud. Thank you, Kylene. That was absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure you guys agree. And if it does inspire you, not just to see Uluru, but to see it with Tali Katu, all you need to do is go to talikatu.com, and that's her Instagram too, @talikatu. Check that out. She is, as you can hear, an amazing woman. And remember, this is a trip you can do too. What we did was we designed a whole itinerary, a road trip around the Northern Territories, and it finishes here in Uluru, but it has a ton of other cool things too. So it's called Into the Wild, a road trip through Australia's Northern Territories. That will give you an idea of the whole trip. And then if you want to officially pen it into your actual bucket list and go there for your next trip, Our partner for that is a company called Down Under Endeavours. That's who you book it through. And what I really love about them is they're all about proper, authentic experiences, just like Kylene, just like Tali Katu, and just like we all are on this show. So check this out. Armchair Explorer listeners are going to get $500 off any trip they book with them. I have wrangled that deal for you. $500. Just head over to downunderendeavours.com/armchair. And that, by the way, folks, is Endeavours, spelt with a U, following the O, the proper King's English way, an utterly superfluous U after the O, and use the code armchair at checkout, and you can book with them from the USA, the UK, or wherever you are in the world. And listen, I get it. Booking a trip to Australia is no small thing, and you're probably going to want to think about it a bit. But if this journey has inspired you, even just going to check out that website is a great way to support the show and to bag that $500 off your trip when you do book it. So head over to downunderendeavours.com/armchair, spelt the proper British way, darn it, with a U. And the link to all that is in the show notes as well. So that's about it, guys, for today. Remember, the more we look for wonder in the world, the more the wonder of the world becomes a part of who we are. Dare to be truly alive. Armchair Explorer is produced by Armchair Productions. You can find our other shows at armchair-productions.com. Charles Tyree does the audio editing and sound design. And my name's Aaron Miller. I write and present the show. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I will see you next time.
Hi, I'm Pauline Fromer, host of the Fromer's Travel Podcast. We post new episodes weekly, detailing the kinds of money-saving tips and cultural insights that will make your trips richer without making you significantly poorer. We do so by interviewing real travel experts like TV host Samantha Brown, Fromer's authors from around the globe, and such public figures as Free Solo's Alex Honnold. It's a fun travel party. I hope you can join us.
Hi, I'm Mike Siegel, host of the Travel Tales podcast, and I'm a stand-up comedian who's been touring the world for years. And when I'm not traveling for work, I'm traveling for fun. And when I'm not traveling at all, I'm talking with friends, influencers, expats, and other people from all walks of life about the thing I'm most passionate about, travel. So if you want to hear a fun conversation about travel and maybe even learn a few things along the way, check out the Travel Tales podcast with Mike Siegel, wherever you get your podcasts.
Close your eyes for a second. You're not at home, you're somewhere else, and you can hear it. This is the Winging It Travel podcast, and I'm James Hammond, recording my travels as they happen, capturing real moments, real places, and the sounds that make each journey unforgettable. From immersive soundscape episodes to conversations with locals and travelers.
My name is Tishanham, and this is Buddhist Nuns College, so I'm in 6th year.
This podcast is about travel as it actually feels, and not how it's sold. If you crave honest stories, unplanned moments, and adventures beyond the guidebook, put your headphones on and let's wing it. Search for Winging It Travel Podcast on any podcast app.